Hi there, my name is Anne Dela Cruz, and for my research presentation, I'd like to talk about motivation in education. The reason why I chose this topic is because I wanted to find out more about how to motivate myself and others to learn. When I played volleyball in high school, there was an award that I earned that was called Most Motivational. I did not understand the meaning at the time, but after this research project, I realized that not only was I self-motivated during that time, but I also exuded motivation to others through my actions, which is probably why the coaches decided to award that award to me. And so with that, there are 3 objectives that we will be covering as we move forward in this presentation. Number 1, we will be gaining a deeper understanding of motivation. Number 2, we will discover how motivation can influence learning. And number 3, we will find out how motivation has been implemented in curriculum in the past and how we can implement similar characteristics in online learning, which is super important for us instructional designers. So let's get started. According to Deci and Ryan's work on motivation in the 70s and 80s, they came up with 2 types of motivation, intrinsic and extrinsic. Intrinsic motivation is when there are internal drives that inspire us to behave in certain ways, and this includes our core values, our interests, and our personal sense of morality. An example of intrinsic motivation for me would be drawing. I draw because it makes me feel calm, and in a way it distracts me from my worries. If I were to draw in order to sell or auction my work, then that would be an example of extrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivation is a drive to behave in certain ways based on external sources, and it results in external rewards. Such sources include grading systems, evaluations, awards, and sometimes the respect and admiration of others. Another example of extrinsic motivation that I experienced in high school was gaining the admiration from the underclassmen when I was a senior. In our volleyball program, we had a buddy system, and the seniors paired up with the underclassmen during workouts. I ended up working harder when we were paired up because I wanted my partner to look up to my work ethic and work just as hard so that they can do the same when they become a senior. Essentially, I wanted to leave a legacy behind when I graduate. Both intrinsic and extrinsic motivation have similar effects when motivation is given or received. In a research article by Unoue in 2015, youth with self-determined motivation, also known as intrinsic motivation, toward their sports activity was shown to have higher self-efficacy, which is an individual's belief in his or her capacity to achieve a task or goal. It was also shown that they have more positive attitudes and lower engagement in negative behavior. In another study by Kakinuma in 2021, students who received motivation and returned motivation to the instructor received a positive effect on their mindset. Now that we know motivation equals positivity, the question now is, what can a positive learning environment do for students? 1, it could reduce depression and anxiety. 2, increase enjoyment and engagement. 3, improve curiosity and love of learning. And 4, enhance social skills, such as empathy, cooperation, assertiveness, and self-control. According to a research article by Ramakandram in 2016, all these results were influenced by motivation and are all correlated with increased academic achievement. Based on the last slide, we can be confident to say that motivation affects academic achievement. So now, how has motivation been implemented in curriculum? In a study by Kane in 2021, motivation was implemented in a social studies classroom through a constructivist strategy. As we have learned in this class, constructivism is a learning theory that allows students to incorporate the information given with the knowledge they already have. In the instructor's classroom, the instructor created activities where students can create a studycast, basically a podcast, to review curriculum. Results showed that those who participated in the assignment had better test results. This is an example of extrinsic motivation because the reward was a grade. The second way motivation has been implemented in curriculum is through a goal-oriented strategy. In a research article by Brophy in 1999, it showed that curricula developed in a goal-oriented fashion will lead to engagement in activities that require students to use what they have learned and apply it to their life outside of school. This is an example of intrinsic motivation. Both of these examples showed two ways to successfully implement motivation in learning. As instructional designers, we can use this information and continue to motivate others and further the exploration of motivation in education and online learning. Thank you for viewing my presentation, and continue this video to see my references.